In 1999, HBO fired the first shots of the TV revolution. HBO has offered top-notch television for decades, bringing audiences into stories of everything from romantic escapades in New York City to mobsters in New Jersey. HBO produced numerous incredible shows, and will continue to do so in the future. So here are top 10 HBO series that made and continue to make HBO the benchmark for television. Deadwood. Deadwood is one of the few series on this list that was never given the opportunity to properly finish. The show, which follows the activities of a group of individuals in Deadwood, South Dakota as they attempt to deal with the harsh realities of the frontier in the 1870s, was cancelled after the completion of its third season, and that's a damn shame. The recipient of almost universal critical acclaim, Deadwood was praised for its acting, writing, and ability to translate traditional Western themes into the television format. Unfortunately, after HBO failed to pick up the contracts of the series stars, such as Timothy Olyphant and Ian McShane, they were forced to cancel the series. Rumors persisted for years of 2 feature-length films being produced to conclude this beloved series, but in 2012 series creator David Milch suggested the series was likely finished once and for all. Boardwalk Empire. It would have been easy to label Boardwalk Empire the spiritual successor to HBO's The Sopranos, and it would have been even easier for HBO to capitalize on that connection and let the former imitate the latter, in the cheap sort of way that television series often do. It's most commendable, then, that Boardwalk Empire resembles The Sopranos, only via both series' insistence on crafting fully realized criminal characters, who are far more than walking, talking gangster stereotypes. Indeed, Boardwalk Empire's Nucky Thompson, played brilliantly by Steve Buscemi, is a man of both conviction and depth, a welcome relief to a character that could have easily been a one-dimensional criminal overlord.
Get them Dago sons of
Boardwalk Empire, which ran for 5 seasons on HBO and also starred Michael Pitt, Michael Shannon and Kelly MacDonald, is one of HBO's most acclaimed series of all time, receiving an astounding 57 Primetime Emmy nominations over the course of its tenure on television, with praise being directed at the show's acting, writing and unique visual aesthetic. Entourage.
Who's that girl? She's cute as hell.
As the guy's answer to Sex and the City, HBO's Entourage delivered 7 seasons of the life of a Hollywood movie star, modeled after Mark Wahlberg's own experiences with his East Coast crew. Entourage follows the ups and downs of Queens-born actor Vincent Chase, Adrian Grenier, alongside his best friends, Turtle, Jerry Ferrara, and Eric, Kevin Connolly, and his has-been half-brother Johnny Drama, Kevin Dillon. Vincent steadily climbs his way up the Hollywood ladder. While he becomes Vince's manager, Johnny and Turtle ride their superstar friends' coattails for as long as possible. Though the 4 friends always kept us coming back for more, Vince's agent, Ari Gold, Jeremy Piven, was the real driving force of the show, an undeniable force of nature. Super Agent Ari lives and breathes for success. The more ruthless he became, the harder we laughed, especially whenever he fired his employees. With 96 episodes to its name, and a feature-length movie, Entourage may have ended in 2011, but its memory will never die. Curb Your Enthusiasm. HBO's premier comedy endeavor, Curb Your Enthusiasm follows Seinfeld creator Larry David, a cantankerous and opinionated man, as he navigates his day-to-day life, which features fellow actors, writers and comedians, attempting to eke out a living in the entertainment industry, also starring Cheryl Hines, Jeff Garlin and featuring a wide array of guest appearances by wildly famous individuals like Jason Alexander, Martin Scorsese, Ben Stiller, etc. Curb Your Enthusiasm remains one of HBO's longest-running series at 8 seasons, and one of its most successful comedy endeavors. What makes the show particularly funny is how nearly every scene throughout the program is almost entirely improvised by the actors on screen.
That Jew boy. What? Fucking faggot.
What? What you do?
According to David, he writes a general outline of each episode, though the actual dialogue and conversation comes right off the top of the head of those in each scene. If you like the humor native to David Seinfeld, you'll probably enjoy watching all 8 seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm. 6 Feet Under. It's an odd thing that show called 6 Feet Under, which follows the trials and tribulations of a Los Angeles family as they attempt to manage their funeral home, isn't really about death at all. While each episode does begin with a gruesome death, usually of the strange or eerie variety, and the family does make a living by providing mortuary services, the show is oddly zestful and for the most part, about life. 6 Feet Under, which mixes intense drama with a dark and morbid sense of humor that helps add levity to an otherwise dour subject matter, remains one of HBO's highest-rated series of all time, and despite its somewhat cadaverous content, it's a joy to watch. It's beautifully acted. Check out Richard Jenkins killing it as the deceased father of the family, written and produced, and features one of the most stunning opening credits sequences in the history of TV. True Detective. HBO's crime anthology, True Detective, burst on the television scene in 2014, taking viewers on an especially dark and twisted ride, with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson at the helm. Over the course of 8-hour-long episodes, writer Nick Pizzolatto and director Cary Fukunaga tell a harrowing tale of murder, deception, and the polarity of religion and logic. This certainly isn't the first show to play with these thematic elements, but few programs consistently hit on all cylinders, like True Detective did during its first season. After resounding success from critics for its initial run, the series returned in 2015 to mixed reviews. While Season 2 isn't in the same class as its predecessor, it's still a fine piece of entertaining television. Band of Brothers. Created and executive produced by Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg shortly after they completed Saving Private Ryan, HBO's first venture into World War II used Stephen Ambrose's eponymous book as its source material. From stateside training, to their D-Day jump above Normandy, to storming Hitler's Eagle's Nest in the Alps, Band of Brothers joins the ranks of the heroic 101st Airborne Division in their fight against the Nazis. With Captain Dick Winters, Damian Lewis, in the lead, we follow the harrowing missions placed at the daring division's feet, often from Dwight D. Eisenhower himself. This is where Band of Brothers separates itself from the WWII film and television pack. By staying with the same soldiers in each of the 10 episodes, you can't help but build a connection with each of the men. In one particular episode, during the Siege of Bastogne, the division is forced to huddle up in frozen foxholes while the Germans unleash mortars from a distance. This hour-long episode will freeze you to the bone, and make you grateful for peacetime. Band of Brothers is HBO at its very best. The Wire. Considering it's 2015, a full 7 years since its Season 5 finale, chances are incredibly high you've heard of the David Simon-produced crime drama, The Wire, and need little to sway you to watch an episode of what many call the greatest television show of all time. However, if you've yet to introduce yourself to the likes of Jimmy McNulty or Avon Barksdale, now is the perfect time. Set in present-day Baltimore, The Wire is a fictionalized and highly realistic take on the relationship between the city's drug culture, the law enforcement details tasked with cleaning it up, and everybody, bullet, or otherwise caught in the middle. Few shows feature as tight of dialogue and storytelling as Simon's opus, making The Wire must-watch television for anyone. The Sopranos. The world suffered a titanic loss in 2013, when legendary actor James Gandolfini died of a heart attack at the age of 51. An imposing man who softened his large stature with a warm character, Gandolfini rose to prominence playing mafia boss Tony Soprano on HBO's The Sopranos. Renowned for bringing long-form storytelling back to television, The Sopranos is consistently cited as one of the greatest television series of all time, with the show's writing, acting and artistic production values being praised. The Sopranos, which could have easily told a simple gangster tale, instead chose to highlight the difficulties a mafia boss, like Tony Soprano, would face in attempting to balance his criminal inclinations against his family obligations.
You alright? My leg's broken. coming through.
Give you a fucking bone, you prick! What are you
The
doing?
result
Get
is a
over here.
compelling,
Get
fully
over here.
realized character drama that is reminiscent of gangster films of old, but still manages to portray a more nuanced understanding of the cops and criminals that police procedural shows have made us all too familiar with. Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin's A Song of Fire and Ice series attracted its fair share of fans when it hit bookstore shelves in the early 90s. However, it was D.B. Weiss and David Benioff's TV adaptation on HBO which really got the fantasy juices flowing when it debuted in 2011, often heralded as not only one of the best shows on HBO, but also one of the best series of all time. Game of Thrones is an epic tale of royal feuds, dynastic conflict, and the struggle for ultimate control in the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. Throughout the show's 5 seasons, a 6th is on tap for 2016, the creators have rarely shied away from egregious violence, sex, and massive bloodshed, making it one of the most controversial, yet wildly popular shows HBO has to offer. What is your favorite TV show from the list? Let us know below and don't forget to subscribe.